Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to do a total walkthrough of how to bond, or otherwise known as mint, on Wonderland time. So in a previous video I walked you through how to determine if it's more beneficial for you to stake or mint your time. So if you haven't watched that video, I'll leave a link to it right here. Go watch that first, and you can use this spreadsheet in order to determine which one is more beneficial for you. That being said, in this scenario, I have a small amount of time staked right here. And let's say I determined that it is more beneficial for me to bond in this time MIM LP bond. So what I would do is I would unstake my entire amount of time. So I would go right here and I'd click unstake. Okay, so you have to approve it first, just like when you staked. So don't be confused by that. You'll have to do 2 transactions. So I'm currently just waiting for the approval to go through. Once that's done pending, I will then click this button, which will now say unstake instead of approve. All right, so my approval just went through. You can see it says transaction was successfully sent, but this button still says approve. So a lot of times with these DeFi apps, you'll just have to refresh the page and that will update the user interface, and now it will say unstake time if we go back to the unstake tab. So that's just a little gotcha that can confuse some people. So make sure if a transaction is successful, but your UI is still giving you conflicting information, just refresh the page and it will probably fix it. So now that I've approved my unstaking of time, I go back to the unstake tab, I click max again, and now I click unstake. This will bring up a second transaction that I can approve, and this will actually remove my time from Wonderland. So we'll wait for that to go through and then we'll move on to minting. Okay, so it just went through. You can see it says your balance will update soon. Your transaction was successfully sent. Once again, the UI isn't showing that my staked balance has been removed, so I'm going to refresh the page and hopefully this will now say I have 0 time staked, which it does. So it says I have 0.001 time, and we can go verify that in my wallet that I actually have that time and I no longer have any memo. So now that I've unstaked my time, I go over to the mint tab and I select the one that I determined was most beneficial to bond or to mint. So in this step, the most beneficial one for me is going to be this time MIM LP. So what I need to do is I need to go get this time MIM LP pair. So for MIM and Wrap AVAX, it's a little more simple. All you need is this one asset. So you would go to Trader Joe, you'd trade your time for MIM, you'd come back here and you would deposit your MIM and you'd approve it and bond it. That's all you'd have to do. For the ones that say LP on them, it's slightly more work, but it's not too bad. So what you have to do is you have to go over to Trader Joe. So go to Trader Joe, take your time, and you have to split it in half. So you need half time for, in this case, and half MIM. So you go over to Trader Joe. Let's connect our wallet here. Okay, so we come over here to Trader Joe and we select from here, we just click on a token and we are going to select time. So what we're going to do is we're going to trade exactly half of our time for MIM, or magic internet money, because we need to have half time and half MIM in order to be an LP provider, and then we can use the token that we get back from that to mint on Wonderland. So we're back in Trader Joe and we have to calculate what half of our time is. So let's just bring up the calculator real quick. And what we need to do is we just need to do our total balance, so 0.00015,085, and then we just divide that by 2. So this is the amount of time that we should swap for MIM in order to have a half and half ratio of the 2 assets. So let's open that calculator back up, just move it over here, and now I'm going to type that in. So I'm going to do 0.000075425, and this would give me half time and half MIM. Okay, so I need to approve this first. So I'm going to confirm, wait for this approval to go through. As soon as it does, I'm then going to swap for MIM. Okay, so as we can see, my time has been approved, but once again, the UI is not updated, so our old trick, refresh the page, and it should be updated. Okay, we will accept that for now. So now we have to go, because we refreshed, we have to redo these tokens. Kind of annoying, but it's just how it works. So once again, I'm putting in half of my time that I determined by just dividing my total balance by 2. And now it says swap instead of approve. So that's great. So I click swap, confirm swap, and approve it, and then just wait for it to go through. Okay, so we're still waiting. We're just waiting for this transaction to finish pending and be finalized. And after it's finalized, we will have half of our assets in time and half of our assets in MIM. And then we have 2 more steps before we are finished bonding. So we can see that it went through. I can open up my MetaMask and I can see that I have half of the amount of my assets in time, so right here. And then if I scroll down, you can see I have some MIM right here. So now we have to take these 2 assets and we have to go to pool, okay? And we have to look for the MIM time pool. It's actually the first pool in the list, which is kind of nice. If it wasn't, you could just type in here one of the assets and it should pull up. So in this case, we determined that the MIM time LP is the most beneficial. It has the highest return on our investment right here. So that's one we want to use. So I'll click this pool. And now, because I have half of my assets in MIM and half in time, it's perfect. So I can just use the max of whichever one I have less of. So I could just hit the max here or the max here, whichever one I have less of. I want to click that max. So I'm going to click the max for MIM, and then I have to approve MIM. Lots of approvals, but you only have to do these approvals once, and then you'll never have to do it again. So it's not as big deal as it seems. So I'm once again approving the transaction, just waiting for that to finish pending. As soon as that finishes pending, I'll probably have to refresh the page because of the UI glitch. So as we can see, it says approve MIM still. So you don't want to click that because you've already approved MIM. So that would actually waste gas fees. So make sure you refresh the page. Honestly, whenever you're done, whenever you make a transaction in DeFi and it finishes, you just kind of want to refresh the page just to be safe, just so you're working with the most up-to-date information. So I'll click that max again. Now it says supply instead of approve, confirm, and now I will confirm that in MetaMask as well. So a lot of steps here, but it's not as bad as it seems. And I'm going to show you a little trick at the end that can save you some time, although it could cost you some extra money. So it's just up to you which method you want to use. This is the method I prefer. It's a little more manual work, but it's not too bad, and it saves you some money in the long run. Okay, so it looks like that went through. So at this point, we can see that I no longer have as much time as I used to, and I have 0 MIM. Okay, so why is this? Well, it's because I gave those 2 tokens to Trader Joe, and in return, they gave me back an LP token, which is this token right here. It's a time MIM LP token. So I have everything that I need now to go back to Wonderland and mint my time for a discount. So I go back to Wonderland. Okay, so now that I have the time MIM LP token from Trader Joe, I come over here to Wonderland. I click on the mint that I want to mint right here, time MIM LP, open it up, make sure I'm on the mint tab, and then I click max. And that will put in the amount of time MIM LP token that I have. So remember, at this point, I no longer have any time in my wallet or MIM. I only have one token, and it's called time -MIM LP. That's the actual token, and it's just basically a receipt that says I deposited 2 assets into Trader Joe in an equal pair. I deposited time and MIM into Trader Joe in an equal pair, and this is my receipt for doing that. So at any time I could take this back to Trader Joe. I could give them this receipt, and they would give me back my time and MIM. So I'm now giving this to Wonderland. So I'm basically giving them all of my time and MIM that I have, and they are going to give me back extra time distributed over a 5-day vesting period. So I'm going to go ahead and approve this first, and after I approve it, then I'm going to go ahead and do the mint. So we'll wait for this to finish pending, and then we'll probably refresh the UI once again, and then we will click mint. Okay, so you can see my transaction was successful. In this case, the UI actually did update, which is really nice, so I don't have to refresh the page. Now I go ahead and click mint. Before I click mint, it's very important that you understand exactly what's going to happen. So when I click mint, I'm going to give Wonderland all of my money, all of my assets, in this case, this time in LP. And they aren't going to give me anything back right away, but what they're going to do is over time, so over a 5-day period, they will give me back all of the time that I put in. So in this case, it's not all the time because I've split my assets, but it would be all of the time if I converted the MIM into time. It would be all of that time plus additional time. So for example, the current price is $6,000. I'm actually purchasing time for $5,600. So that means I'm going to be able to get more time than I would have been if I just purchased it from the market, from Trader Joe at this exact moment. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click max here and then click mint. And it actually says my bond is too small, which is unfortunate. So because I'm just using a test wallet and I have such a small amount of these assets, it's not actually allowing me to mint. There seems to be some minimum minting balance that you need to have. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to actually show you the entire flow. So when I click mint, it says my bond is too small. But when you click mint, if you have more than I do of this pair, it will successfully mint. And what you'll see is your balance will go to 0. So my LP balance will go to 0, but my time balance will increase. So not right away, but if you go to this redeem tab, you will see after you've minted, you will see pending rewards, and this will be the amount of time that's going to be owed to you. And then you'll see claimable rewards. So this is the amount of time that you can currently claim. And then you will see a time until it's fully vested. So this will be an amount of days and hours until your total time can be claimed, your ROI, and this will change. So the ROI that you bonded at will still be valid. This will just change with time. So you can kind of ignore this. You can write down what it was when you bonded, but it's going to change and it's not going to really be relevant to you. And then the vesting term, which is always going to be 5 days. So what you'll do, and I can't do this unfortunately because my bond was too small and I wasn't able to mint, but in your case, you'll come in here maybe once a day, maybe twice a day if you want, if the gas fees are worth it, and you'll come and you'll click claim and auto stake. And what this will do is, let's say you had one claimable time. So that means you had time just sitting there. It wasn't benefiting from the rebases because it wasn't staked. So you just had time sitting here. So you want to make sure that you stake that so you can benefit from those rebases. So you'd come in here at the end of every day, right before the last rebase of the day, and you'd just click claim and auto stake. And what this would do is it would take these claimable rewards, it would put them into your wallet, and then it would go automatically stake them on the stake tab without you having to do all those extra steps. It would just do it automatically. And at that point, you would have some time that was pending. You'd have 0 claimable rewards because you just claimed all the available time. And then if you came over to the stake tab, you'd notice that you had some memo staked in time. So now you're getting the rebases and the APY from that small amount of memo that you have deposited, and you're also getting the rewards from minting. So that's why minting can be more valuable than just the percentage that is shown right here, because you're taking advantage of the minting and the staking simultaneously. So then you'd come over here in the next day, you'd click on that same pair that you deposited in, you'd click redeem, and now because a day has gone by, you'd click claim and auto stake again, and that would put even more time into the staking. So now you have, let's say you're halfway through, so now you have half of your time being staked, and the other half of your time is still waiting to be, it's still pending. And then another day would go by. Let's say you're on the 4th day, you'd come and at the end of the day, you'd click claim and auto stake. So now you'd have like 75% of your time staked and 25% waiting to be claimed. And then on the 5th day, obviously you can claim and auto stake all of your time. And at that point, you have all of your time staked in the staking pool, and you no longer have any claimable rewards. And then you just repeat the cycle. You'd come back to this calculator, you'd plug in the current values that you see over here, and you'd plug in the current values for the staking ROI and the staking rebase rewards, and then you determine once again, okay, is it better to mint or is it better to stake? And whichever one is more beneficial, you'd go ahead and do that. So let's say now let's pretend that this time AVAX was the most beneficial one to mint. So I would do the same thing I did with time MIM, except for now, instead of swapping half of my time for MIM, I want to swap half of it for AVAX. And then I once again, I pool my time AVAX now instead of time MIM. So I do this AVAX pool over here, and then I take that token and I would come over here and I'd mint it, and then I would wait, and at the end of every day I would claim an auto stake. So it's the same for any of these bonding pairs. You're just basically depositing a different asset, and these are kind of nice, these single assets, because you don't have to split your assets in half between two tokens. You can just convert it all to MIM or all to wrapped AVAX, but these are usually lower than the LP pairs. So hopefully this makes sense to you. There is one final thing I want to mention. So you might have noticed this zap button. So what this does is it basically does all the work of swapping your tokens and pooling them, and coming back here and minting for you. So instead of doing maybe 4 or 5 steps, if you count all the approvals that you have to do on Trader Joe's, this cuts it down to just 1 step, which is very nice. The only thing you have to worry about is that you will incur some slippage. So your slippage tolerance right here is set to 2%, which is pretty high. So that means that you could lose up to 2% of the money you put in. So just be aware of that, but it is really nice. So how you do this is you would just come over here, you'd select the asset that you want to zap in. It's probably going to be your time. So you'd select your time, you'd approve it once again. You'd put in your max, you'd approve it, you'd refresh the UI probably, and then you would say zap. This button would say zap, you'd click zap. And what this would do is it swaps half of your time for MIM automatically. It goes and deposits those 2 assets into Trader Joe. It comes back with that LP token, and then it exchanges it for this mint right here. So it does all of that for you automatically, and you can see exactly how much time and LP and everything that you'd receive right here. So keep that in mind. It might be an option for you if you don't want to do the steps yourself, or just kind of not feeling like it, but you could incur that 2% fee. So just be aware of that. All right. Hopefully this video helped you understand exactly how to mint on Wonderland. Please let me know if you have any questions or want me to make any follow-up videos on how to bond. I apologize that I couldn't actually do the entire flow because of my bond being too small, but it's very straightforward. I think I walked you through most of the difficult parts that are swapping for the assets on Trader Joe and pooling them and then coming back to Wonderland. So the final step is super easy. It's just click max, click mint, and then you're done. So and then you just come back once a day and claim an auto stake. So not too bad. Thanks very much for watching. I'm going to be making more videos in the future, so make sure to subscribe and like the video. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.